Your normal life is not boring. Your screen time might just be too high this week. And I can relate. Social media can make it so hard to forget what normal life really looks like. We constantly see the what's new in videos, the shopping hauls, the must-haves, the run, don't walk, and it makes us feel like we're not enough, like we're not doing enough. And don't get me wrong, I used to do those too, but then something changed. So I thought you and me both could use a reminder of normal life. That's not curated, that's not for aesthetics, but one that's just for living. So let me de-influence you today. Wearing the same bag almost every day is completely normal. I used to feel like I needed to have a bag in all different kinds of colors so they would match all the different outfits. And then I realized, what if I just had one or two bags that actually match most of my outfits or all of them, and I can just wear that every single day. And I think most of us do this, don't we? We have that one bag that's our favorite that we wear on repeat almost every day, but looking on social media, it makes us feel like we need more. We need more than that. We need more colors. We need more variety. Everything's a must-have. There's a new trending color that you need to get for this season. And it can be such a spiral that leads us to buy a lot of things that end up in the back of our understairs closet, and we don't actually use them because we'll still reach for that favorite bag that we wear almost every day. So just a reminder that if you have a bag and you love it and you wear it every day, that's normal. And you probably don't need more. Lived-in spaces are completely normal. And I think sometimes when we look on social media, even when you look on my Instagram, we might feel like, because we see homes that are tidy or they're clean, it means that's what they look like 100% of the time. And of course, that's not true. It doesn't mean that person is not being authentic. And I still believe that having a clutter-free space can help us keep a tidy home a lot easier, but it's still going to be lived in. There's still going to be toys on the floor. If you look now on that side of the living room, you might see a few toys that my kids left this morning that I haven't gotten around to tidying yet. And that's fine. This is not about having a perfect home or a perfectly aesthetic home. Having it clutter-free makes it easy. So when I do go to tidy that, it's going to take me 5 minutes instead of 30. But this is just a reminder that normal homes are lived in. And my house looks completely different throughout the day. Like at 8 a.m. there will be maybe toys out, there will be dishes on the table, it will look like a mess. But maybe 20 minutes later, it will be all tidy because I had gotten around to doing that. When we're doing an activity, when we've got a busy day, things are going to look messier, and that's fine. Lived-in spaces are completely normal. It's just about creating a home that works for us, that's easier to maintain, but also keeping in mind that it doesn't need to look perfect all the time. A minimal makeup collection is completely normal. And I know for myself, I was a teenager growing up in the era of YouTube and other platforms where you could see people's huge makeup collections. And I remember as a teenager, that was like goals, right? That was the dream for me, to have this massive vanity full of makeup products. In my head, that would feel amazing. And then as I grew up and I started making my own money, I started buying a lot more makeup products. And what I realized was that I wasn't using a majority of them, because when you have a drawer full of them, there's only so much you can put on your face on any given day, right? So I was only using a tiny fraction of that on repeat. And it took me a while to realize that I don't want or need a huge makeup collection. And having just a few products that I use every day, I still like makeup, I still like feeling put together, and it gives me that bit of confidence boost, especially when I'm on camera. And so I love it. But that doesn't mean I need to have a huge drugstore full of products in my bathroom. So now I keep one of each, one foundation, one mascara, one bronzer. So one of each product that I actually use almost on a daily basis. And that means less waste and more money to use in savings or in other ways. Repeating outfits is completely normal. Going on social media, again, it can feel like everybody's got a new wardrobe every season, and you need the new shoes, you need the new coat, you need everything new to make sure people don't realize that you're wearing the same thing on a repeat, when actually there's nothing wrong with repeating outfits. And sometimes it can be hard to find our style and the things that make us feel good, the things that we love to wear. And so when you find an outfit you love, wear it shamelessly on repeat almost every day or 3 times a week, however often you want to. You don't have to have a new wardrobe every season. You don't have to have new outfits. If you've got outfits that you love, just wear them on repeat. There's nothing wrong with that. And I've had some pieces, like for example, this jumper, I think I've had this for 7 years. I can't remember. I think we used to live in Romania and that was a long time ago. So I've had it for a long time and I still wear it every season in kind of the same combination. So it's an outfit I've repeated a lot. And there's nothing wrong with that. One thing I've learned throughout my journey towards, more of a decluttered home and minimalism is that what we love to do is often chase the purchase rather than owning the product. So we love the kind of hunt for it, going out and finding a bargain and browsing the aisles, and we buy the item, but then once we have it at home and we own it, sometimes it can stay in our wardrobe with the tags on even months later. Yes, I am speaking from my own experience here. But it did make me realize that oftentimes I just liked the shopping part of it. I didn't necessarily like owning the product. It really made me more conscious, when I go in the shop and I see items that I like, sometimes I can just browse and enjoy them. If it's something that really catches my eye, I can maybe take a picture of it and save it for later, see how I feel about it later down the line. But I don't always need to own it. And sometimes I would have things very similar to those already in my wardrobe, but because that was a new shiny item, I felt like that was so much better, when in reality it was probably kind of the same, or not that big of an upgrade anyway. Simple functional rooms are completely normal. Not everything has to be super aesthetic, and this is coming from someone who does like things to look nice, and I do like kind of a more minimal look. I like a clutter-free space. I don't like having a lot of things out on all surfaces, but it's not just about the aesthetics. Simplifying a room and keeping the items that you actually like looking at, and items that are functional, that make the space easier to use or more convenient for you, that is the goal for me. Like in my bedroom, I want to keep it simple. I don't want to have a ton of surfaces that I need to clean. I don't want to have a ton of pillows on my bed anymore, like, the core cushions and lots of things like that, because I realize they end up on the floor for the majority of the time. And also it makes making my bed take a lot longer, and simplifying just that can make such a big difference. Like not having a ton of the cushions here. We have a few of them, but not a lot of them, because if it's full of cushions on the sofa, then kids will throw them on the floor and it will be annoying to clean up. It will just take up space on the sofa and we can't chill and relax on it. That's just an example, but simplifying a room can actually do so much for it. And just a reminder that you don't need to have this perfectly decorated room in order to enjoy living in it. Having coffee at home. And I think there's nothing wrong with, having a takeaway once in a while or going out to meet a friend for a coffee. But I realized that I didn't want to have the habit of constantly needing to go out and get my coffee or needing to go out and get a Starbucks. So I do tend to have coffee a lot of the times at home. Social media can make it easy to forget that that's completely normal to do. Wearing the same jeans on repeat just because they go with everything is completely normal. And I used to think that I needed to have a ton of different jeans in a lot of different, colors and silhouettes and shapes. And then I realized I actually really like a straight leg kind of jean. Not too tight, not too baggy, and I like kind of lighter-ish washes. So I have 2 pairs of jeans that fit that criteria in my wardrobe that I wear on repeat. And so whenever I see a new trend of jeans coming out, now I'm a lot better at recognizing that that might not be for me. And just because it's trending or it's cute or it looks great on this person online, it doesn't mean I have to own it. I'm happy with my 2 pairs of jeans. That's completely normal. And that's okay not to have drawers stuffed with all different kinds of jeans. Doing nails at home, and it might not be a perfect representation today because they are slightly chipped. And there's nothing wrong with getting your nails done. Obviously, if that's something you enjoy doing and it's kind of part of your routine, that's perfectly fine. But just know that you don't have to do that if you don't enjoy that experience, particularly, which I don't. I prefer to do them at home just quickly by myself. And I have 2 nail polishes that I use on repeat. It's 2 Essie ones, ballet slippers, blanc. Those are the 2 colors I wear on repeat. And a lot of people do their nails at home. You don't have to go to a salon every single week. One in, one out is something that's completely normal to do as well. So if I'm buying something new, like a new pair of shoes that I want to replace an old one, then I make sure to actually get rid of the old pair, because I did in the past tend to just keep both. I was never going to reach for the old pair because there is a reason why I decided to replace them with a new pair. And so the one in, one out rule is really helpful for me. Trying to reduce overconsumption is normal, and I think it's actually something that's going to better our lives. But it's also very hard when you scroll your feed and you see a ton of products every day and they're all geared to help you you with a problem or to, make your wardrobe better, make you feel more confident. And in reality, having a ton of those items is not really gonna help with any of those things. But it's hard. You see the holes, you see the must-haves. And from someone who used to be a bit of a shopaholic, I remember I would use shopping as an excuse for anything, whether I was happy or excited about an event in my life, or whether I was sad and going through a hard time, I would resort to shopping a lot. Shopping was that quick dopamine hit for me that I resort to a lot. And it wasn't until I realized that there was a steep drop after that dopamine hit. That's like right after you do the shopping, and it doesn't make you feel great. And it actually, not only impacts your budget, but it can impact your mental health as well. Aesthetic versus function is something that social media, has changed our perspective on so much. And this is something I was very much influenced to do myself. It made me feel like I had to have everything perfectly matching. All of the cupboards need to have perfectly matching, baskets or jars, or the kitchen cupboards need to be perfectly organized and beautifully aesthetic. And don't get me wrong, I still think, bins and baskets and cupboards can be helpful to keep things organized and clutter-free, but they don't all need to be matching. They don't all need to look perfect in there. If it's functional, if it works for you, then you do not need to change it. Dressing for the weather and for comfort instead of dressing for the algorithm. I used to buy a lot of things that looked cute, but they weren't waterproof, or sometimes they would be made out of a really thin fabric that was synthetic. It wasn't wool, it wasn't anything that would actually keep you warm or dry, but it looked cute. And over the past few years, I've really tried to be more mindful of these things and to dress up more for, the weather, my own comfort. I also want to look cute. I think we all do, right? But I want to focus more on that versus just the aesthetics. And I don't want to dress up for the algorithm. I don't want to dress up just for, posting something on Instagram. I want to dress up for myself, for feeling good in myself. And even if that's maybe not the most aesthetic or perfectly eye-pleasing outfit. Not redecorating your home every season is also completely normal. It used to be just Christmas, right? Well, now it's Christmas, there's Halloween, which I still love these too. I still decorate a little bit for these, more so for Christmas than Halloween. We have a few decorations that we reuse every single year, but there's so many more trends out there now, and there's all of these micro trends that pop up on TikTok and everywhere, and they make us feel like we constantly need to redecorate our home to make it season appropriate. I feel like if you've got a home that works for you, that's functional, that you've got everything that you need in there that makes your life convenient, then you do not need to redecorate it every single season. You don't need to redecorate it every year. Nothing wrong with putting out Christmas decorations, obviously, but I think it's important to remember that we don't have to buy new decorations every single year. What we've got from last year probably works just fine. Using products before replacing them. This is something I try to do because I realize if I have a whole bunch of products and I keep buying more, but I'm not really using the ones I already have in my bathroom, then those old ones are just gonna stay there. I'm not going to end up using them more by buying new products. And so my goal is to just buy new products when I have run out of the old ones. And that's been really helpful for me to keep a clutter-free home and also to stay within budget and not waste a lot of money on things that I don't actually use. Let me know some reminders that you have about, what normal life actually looks like outside of social media. I hope you're having a lovely day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.